but doing the marketing for myself is weird. It's probably like having your photo taken. It's something that we're not used to. So these courses were really, really good in the beginning, and that was the first networking I did. I'm still in touch with some of the people I met then in those business gateway courses, and that's now easily 8-9 years ago. And the networking after that. So I did Business Gateway first. That was all a very, very safe environment. And then I kind of gently went out and got my first business card. And I think eventually it was also that through those contacts, I'm a person, if anybody needs help or volunteers, my hand goes up faster than my brain can hold it back. So at some point that happened, that somebody was looking for help with the Edinburgh Businesswomen Club. She had taken on the presidency of the club, and the whole committee was kind of petering out a little bit. She tried to pull it back together, and she just asked a lot of people, do you want to help? And I was the one who said, yes, yeah, sure, and a few others as well. What I didn't know is that she, after talking to me probably just for 5 minutes, figured out I'm well organized and quite good at what I do. So she then said, right, I want you to be my vice president. So suddenly I was expelled into this not just networking position, but in holding these events, in hosting them. And that obviously gave me quite a big boost. But that was indispensable to even get my business off the ground in the beginning, because I didn't have the advantage of any other, contacts from people I went to primary school with or anything.
And it's funny because before I moved over here, I didn't think about that. So I did my university program, and it was in the city centre. I lived in the city centre. I put myself through school working in a pub in the city centre. So I knew loads of people just from working in the pub and from the different programs. And as you say, people from primary school all the way up. And I didn't realize how much of my opportunities came just from knowing people and people knowing me and knowing, oh, Rhiannon's a photographer. So when I first moved here, it was similar. I wasn't quite as brave as you. I didn't move all on my own. I moved with my husband, who is originally from Scotland. He'd been in Canada for 9 years. So I had him and his family, but I mean, none of them have small businesses. None of them work in any creative industry. So it wasn't, I was kind of in the same boat with no contacts. And networking was hard at first because I definitely had a bit of a drop in confidence when I moved. I didn't know where anything was or how things worked here. I didn't know any kind of local locations. And it took a while to build up the confidence. And I remember being so nervous going to these things at first. And I'm not a nervous person. I'm quite a chatty. I'm really outgoing. I mean, I worked in pubs since I was 18 years old kind of thing. But it was a big change moving here. And I really credit getting myself out there and meeting other people. And as you're saying, meeting other people that run small businesses and are in creative industries, because that's just inspiring and motivating when you surround yourself with other people that are where you want to be or who have the same values or the same kind of dreams as you do.
It's also, it's the whole, I mean, it's been quoted by a lot of people, but it is nonetheless true. It's the whole, you're not alone. You're not the only one with this problem. You're not, you're not making this all up. It's not just in your head. This is the thing. So those conversations were the most motivating of all in the networking world. If you just find somebody like, oh God, it's not just me, then that's awesome. It's also, I mean, it was a boost for my, yes, I'm still nervous. So I was a tour guide. I sang in bands since I think I started when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And I was on stage at age 14 in front of 500 people. Believe me, if you're not scared, you're doing it wrong. And even with the tour guiding, I mean, there was a microphone in front of my face the whole time. The largest group I guided was 193 people.
Oh, wow.
So, standing in front of people and talking is something I did for a living, and I still do to a degree, because obviously there's public speaking at networking events. I help run a networking event in Edinburgh as well and everything. So there's a lot of hosting involved. I'm still scared. I'm still nervous. And I think it would be weird if I wasn't. The only thing that changes is that it's going to be all right. It's going to be fine, because everybody is nervous. Even the most experienced speaker is nervous. And you wouldn't believe how many actors have stage fright. So it's learning these things, but also through networking. Because as you said in the beginning a little bit, it's just, I'm not a native speaker. So I was a copywriter. Yes, I was a marketer, but in my heart, I'm a copywriter. And I moved to a country where German is not a thing. And in the beginning, I didn't dare being a copywriter. I really didn't feel like I could compete with those native speakers. Like, I thought there's native speaker copywriters, then there's native speakers, and then on the lower level, that's me, because, you know, I'm not even a native speaker. I might know how to write, but the whole, you know, English thing, not my you know, mother language, as well, mother tongue, as we call it. And it took me so long to figure out that that's just not true. I've my expertise in copywriting, and obviously over years my not improving my English and everything, makes me still a better copywriter than a normal, you know, person who doesn't really have much in experience in terms of writing or anything, especially not for marketing purposes and for their own business. So it took me a while to figure that out, but it was through networking and through feedback from other people that I noticed that, and also through, and I mean that in the best possible way, comparing myself to others. I'm not the person, I don't compete with others, absolutely. My problem is I'm competing with myself, and that's hard enough. But comparing myself to others, seeing that I don't rank at the bottom, I'm still a very, very good native copywriter, even though I'm not a native speaker. And that was quite a nice kind of boost to my confidence over the years. I just felt like, yeah, I can totally do this. And I was always worried. Germans are, I think, always worried about making mistakes in any kind of way. My mom is perfect for that. Her English is good, but she doesn't speak because she might make a mistake. So I needed to get rid of that entirely, because obviously I wouldn't get anything done if I, you know, overthought and just kind of double checked everything. But it was just, I don't know, it just getting the feedback, comparing myself to others, especially my favorite conversation partner with, oh, I can copyright. I studied English literature. And then you sit there and think of all the different types of copy that there are: journalistic, kind of editorial writing, there is advertising, there is, you know, you write for a website, so, and it's such a different way than you write for a blog or for social media and all that stuff. And I kind of learned to differentiate and just see, like, yeah, their English might be better, but none of my clients has ever said anything if I had a little bit of a typo in there, or for error. Or I have one client who gets back to me every now and then and just like said, like, wow, that's a very, very Scottish turn of phrase. You've arrived. Or just saying, like, this is something I wouldn't, that seems to be more, you know, Americanism or something like that. And then, but they're fine with that, because the quality of writing is still obviously a lot better than their own. Otherwise they wouldn't hire me for that. But it's the same for, I then the next step was to do the public speaking in English. I was a German speaking tour guide. So just, you know, my mom, when I told her that I would work as a tour guide, she just started laughing out loud and didn't stop for 5 minutes. And when she finally, you know, caught a breath, I was just like, what is going on? And she said, well, I just had in my head that image of 40 people being trapped on a coach with you and the microphone, and nobody gets off until you let them. I was just like, yeah, that's right. I can talk for Scotland or Germany or the whole world. I don't know. So, but that was German. That was my own language. If I got, you know, kind of halfway stuck through a sentence and didn't quite know what I actually wanted to say in the beginning, I can kind of catch myself. In English, I wasn't sure if I could do that. And that needed some practice, and networking was perfect for that. Standing up, do these elevator pitches, which still freak me out, by the way. It's just, that was a really, really good test, and it was in a safe environment where everybody had to do it. And then I saw that other people were just doing it the same way I did, or they weren't, you know, suddenly brilliant and I was the only one stuttering around. So that's what I mean with comparing myself to others. Networking is a good way to see what the real world is like outside of your head.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's interesting because there's so much value in social media and in the way that we can connect on social media. I mean, we found each other on social media and then realized we have all these things in common, which is pretty cool. But I also think social media can be quite damaging in that sense of comparison. So I try very hard not to compare myself to others as well, and just look at my own progress and my business progress. However, it can be difficult if you're having a down day or a day where you're already feeling discouraged, and you go online and you see everybody, oh, I'm fully booked for the next 5 years. And these kinds of comments. And we all know that most of the time these comments aren't true, and they are a sales tactic that either work for some people or people think it will work for them. And it's the same as the posts that are, look at me, I'm working on a beach in Hawaii, and yeah, exactly, me. And I think that can be quite damaging. Most of the time we could look at that and go, oh, come on, and roll our eyes. But if you're having a day where you're feeling discouraged, these kind of things can be quite bad for comparing yourself. And I think meeting face-to-face at networking events is good for exactly what you've said there. You realize actually everybody else is just like me, and some people might be further ahead in their business journey or bringing in a higher income, or whatever their goals are with their own business might be different than yours, but actually we all have the same challenges and we all start in the same place. So we're not that different.
It's also, this might be also because I am fairly German. I don't have a filter, for example. I just talk, and that's when my brain catches up and things, which can be problematic, but I have survived so far. But I don't trust people who I feel are not quite honest. I've met people that I knew. I just had to look at their website and I could see they're on their own. They're not, a big company or anything like that. They started a few years ago. And then you meet them in person, and then they talk about, oh yeah, we are doing this and we are doing that. And they're just trying to make themselves sound bigger and better, although it's pretty obvious that they're not. And I never quite got this whole kind of, why? Like, we're all in the same boat. Why? Of course, I understand it's a confidence thing, and some people just need this a little bit more. But I never understood it, because I always thought, like, I'm not going to tell anybody. Like, what do you? Why do you have to pretend in front of me? We're all just here in the room. We're all running our own businesses, and we're all struggling with different things. And that's exactly where we can help each other. Like, I'm possibly better at organizing. Let's say time management, organizing. If you ever organized a team of graphic designers and copywriters, you're organized. It's not an easy feat, but so maybe that's my skill. And then I talk to somebody else and they're really good at something that I could not be asked to do. So I'm not really good. I just try to procrastinate every time I have to do it. And that's, I think, also the other thing of networking. It's helping each other. This is how this all works. You're really good at photography. I'm good at copywriting and marketing, and we are complementary, so we help each other out. That's why you hire a different freelancer or a different consultant. And the networking can only work if somebody is then kind of themselves and genuine, and I can trust them. If then somebody comes in and just boasts about what they've been doing, and oh yeah, we're awesome like this and we do this and that, and it just kind of feels like, well, I can't help you if you're not honest, or if you're not, if you're not meeting at eye level, then I don't know how I can help you, because I think it's a give and take. And I don't know, it's a little bit of a bullshit filter going on in my head always when I hear people just doing it a little bit too big and a little bit too buzzy and hype and everything involved. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I usually just don't trust these people as easily as others.
No, and it's too bad, because I think sometimes if these people would just be themselves and be honest that they're dealing with the same things, then it would really make a difference, and you'd probably get on really great. But I've noticed it at a few events I've been to, or a few people that I at one point followed online, and it was very much like, it's all about dollars and how much money they're going to make. And it's all very like, look at me, I'm so successful, I've won these awards. You look into the awards, you pay to be a part of it. It's all of these things. It's the people that are constantly shouting out about how great they are, instead of actually just trying to be there and be real and be who they are. And I don't know, it doesn't resonate with me, and I can't imagine it resonates with that many people. But I definitely tend to get on better with the people that are just honest about what they're good at and what they're not good at, and how hard it is to run a business sometimes, rather than pretending that it's all roses all the time.
Yeah, nobody can do everything. I have not met a single person that was awesome at everything. It's just not feasible, not realistic, and nobody is like that. So why pretend to be? You're not giving anything away, and I'm not saying people should just be, oh, well, I'm shit at this and I'm not good at that. And no, that's not what I'm saying. It's just keep it real. Just be yourself, because that's what your business is about. And if you don't, I mean, it's the same again, if you're not convinced you should be doing this, if you're not behind this all, then why would other people buy into it? So it's a little bit of that. I do understand it's a confidence thing. In the beginning, I mean, I don't want to watch myself